Hello everybody and welcome to another discussion video. So last time I talked about the lack of new heroes in For Honor and how I personally don't see it as a problem, but a blessing. It's great that Ubisoft has taken the time to fix the issues with the game rather than giving us characters that are either too powerful or too weak to warrant the purchase of a season pass. But I do believe that new content will be necessary to keep the game from feeling stale, so here are some new things that I feel should make their way into For Honor.
Free for all!
This is one of the game modes that most people have been asking for. When we saw the trailer for Honor, we saw a knight fighting a Viking fighting a samurai fighting a knight, and it looked so freaking cool. So, yeah, a free-for-all mode would be great. We would love to play something along those lines. Hell, Ubisoft, be creative. Throw us in a coliseum, make us fight wolves or tigers. Have fun with the concept. On top of that, gamers like myself would have an absolute blast streaming custom matches and making fight clubs, which would be so much more fluid and convenient with a free-for-all mode. Then of course, there's a siege game mode. If there's one reason why I personally play Dominion over any other game mode, it's because that's what medieval combat is all about, to me at least. Who cares about honorable duels? I want carnage! I want to feel like Ragnar Lothbrok in the Siege of Paris, or Aragorn in the Battle for Helm's Deep. I don't want to fight. I want a war. And a siege mode would be a perfect addition to For Honor. I can picture it now. A three-phase game mode with the attackers defending their ram as they move it up the map, and the defenders throwing arrows and bombs and whatever in order to destroy it. I know some people want this to be an 8v8 game mode, but I can tell that might be too much. However, I think captains would fill in just fine. Give us captains and a shit ton of minions. Make it feel like a real goddamn battle. Now just hear me out. I know many people didn't care for the campaign, but at this point I don't care if it has anything to do with the story or not. I just want some goddamn single player content. The warrior trials were legitimately fun, even if they were pretty easy for veterans. And this actually got me thinking. An objective-based single-player mode where you're completing different tasks? I would play that shit! But anything beyond multiplayer. Here's a fun fact for you. I actually had a choice between purchasing For Honor or purchasing Overwatch. But I chose For Honor because it at least offered me a single-player campaign. And you know what? I regret absolutely nothing. I would rather have a campaign with a lackluster story that informs me of the lore and the setting, making the multiplayer feel bigger than it is, than the way Overwatch's story is told. Gee, the story of the short looks really cool, but you know what would be even cooler? Playing it instead of watching it. Last I checked, this was a game, not the fucking opening of a Pixar movie. And would you look at that, it appears that even COD is going to ditch the single player in favor of multiplayer. Well, I guess I'll add that to the list of games that I'm not going to be buying this year. Please, Ubisoft, I don't care what it is. A campaign, special scenarios, a fucking survival mode, just give me some goddamn single player. I won't linger on this one for too long since there really isn't much to say beyond new maps would be cool. And indeed they would be. Even if you account for the lack of new heroes, I don't see why new maps have to be tied with new heroes in any way. Especially since you don't even need the season pass to play on the maps when the season starts. New scenery is personally what I think players want, new areas to explore and fun gimmicks to use. On top of that, I find that these maps are so well designed in terms of aesthetics that they provide a lot of rich insight into the culture of each faction. Viking Village is my favorite map for this reason. You walk around and it just feels alive. It reminds me a lot of Kattegat from the show Vikings, and the little details like the whales in the distance really add more vibrance to it. And the arena maps are cool too, so at the very least we are still getting new maps. But whether these maps come up during the start, middle, or end of a season, please Ubisoft, keep the new maps coming. Now, with everything I've said so far, I know that things like game modes, single player, and new maps would take a considerable time to make. So since Ubisoft is mainly focused on improving the game, I think I have some ideas for some minor features that they could add, or some non-hero reworks that they could implement. First, a theater mode would be perfect. The Illest Truth brought this up in his video, Ubisoft should bring these features to For Honor. And it was something that I had thought about for a while. Making Marley the Highlander and Becky the Valkyrie videos have always been relatively difficult because as a console player, I don't have the option of a free roam camera, meaning that all of my potential shots are limited. A theater mode, similar to the one in Halo, would give content creators so much freedom, which in turn would make it easier for people to see the game we play from cool perspectives, which in turn would make the game more appealing to those who haven't played it. Not to mention that this would allow for the possibility of machinimas to be made. And that would be really fucking cool. Think about it. For Honor machinima? Along the lines of red versus blue? Jesus, that would be fucking awesome!
You shot Church, you team-killing fucktard!
Secondly, taking another cue from the Illest Truth, ranked duels should definitely be reworked. Rather than a tournament setting, why not make it like regular duels, except A, the matchmaking actually pairs you up with people near your skill level, and B, all of the arena maps are the only maps you can play on. After all, that's the whole point of arena maps. They are neutral settings with zero environmentals that allow for the fairest fight possible. It's perfect for ranked. And if tournaments are going to stay, why not make them available for a limited time, like on weekends? Weekend tournaments, if you will, where you match with players based on the ranking you've acquired in ranked duels. Also, please make the rankings mean something more beyond a once-a-season thing. I really do feel like the fact that they reset every season makes them kind of pointless in the grand scheme of things. And this, of course, also applies to other rank modes as well. Third, please improve the customization. Why am I limited to only 5 slots to make my emblem? Why can't I make these symbols tiny as shit? Take a cue from Black Ops emblem customization. Now that's how you do it. And while we're on the topic of customization, the color wheels, they also need to be reworked. The way it works now, when you reach a certain rep, you unlock a 3-palette color wheel. But how the wheel affects your hero is not up to you, and I feel like it should be. Because on top of how limiting it feels, there's actually a limited number of color wheels, which means that even if there is another wheel with 3 colors that you like, chances are it still won't affect your hero in a way that you want. I know that seems like a minor thing, but after playing games like Black Ops, customization this basic can actually be bothersome. And finally, if making changes like these are still a bit too much, then at least make it so modes like Dance of Death, Ice Brawlers, Test Your Metal, etc. are weekend game modes. I know, these are special events, but let's be real. Wouldn't it be boring if Test Your Metal was a Season 5 only thing, or if Ice Brawlers was the only winter event we got, or that Dance of Death shows up only every 2 or 3 weeks? We already played these game modes, and we love them. I seriously doubt implementing them and rotating them each weekend would be too difficult, and it would give players something to look forward to every weekend. And on top of that, they don't have to yield any new loot or anything. And I'm sure people will play it regardless of what loot they get because these game modes are just fucking fun. If anything that I mentioned above seems like it would take too long or it would be too hard to implement, this, at the very least, I know would be easy to implement because you guys already have implemented it. And that's it. But let me know what you guys think. Let's have a discussion in the comment section below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and spread the love. Also, join my Discord so we can chat and look at memes and a bunch of other shit. As always, this has been D-Skull, and I'll see you guys next time.